Okay, so here we are in week 5, and you know um, we've covered a lot of ground, and I'm really happy that it seems to me that most of you have been enjoying what you've been learning, despite the fact that you rightfully feel overworked. Um, you know, and so I hope that until we finish this class, that despite maybe how exhausted you guys have been, that you continue to really kind of let yourselves enjoy being empowered by learning about things that actually are applicable to the real world, right? Is to the development of belief systems and cultures of your friends and neighbors and the rest of the people in the world, and so on. Now, in terms of just the workload, I just want to just encourage you. We've got really 2 more weeks. The last week is a final, just one paper that when you look at the workload you've been doing, the final will not be the problem for you. That will actually be a relief. So the real struggle is just finishing out these last two, well, after this week, 2 more weeks, right? Okay. And so I just want to remind that of you. If you've been getting behind, um, that's what you need to really try to like focus on is are you up to the speed with the work? Okay, that's what you need to be doing. In terms of um, if you've, I mean, I also want to encourage you to look at your Blackboard and see where you're at. Now, I still have not been able to put zeros in all of everyone's grades, to show you what your grade really looks like. So I want to remind you again that I usually don't put in zeros until later because I want to give people a chance to turn in late work. Once I put a 0, you can't put the assignment in the normal way, and you have to contact me, and I have to do it by hand. Okay, and I can't afford to take like 1,000 different late assignments. So if you've already missed more than 4, we should have been having a conversation already. And if we haven't, and you're still on board and want to finish this class, then I need you to contact me, ideally tonight before 8:30, okay, p.m. And just so we can try to strategize and figure out where you're at if you're missing over 4 assignments. And you can try to hit me up on Tuesday. Tomorrow I work my full 10-hour day at the kids center, and so you can try to get a hold of me tomorrow. But tomorrow is I'm pretty bogged down. Okay, so it's going to be basically tonight until 8:30 is the best time to get a hold of me, or most of Tuesday. Okay, and so again, I just want to say I relate to the probably the hardness of also focusing. It's a lovely day out. I have 2 lovely lady friends who asked me if I want to go on a picnic, and I'm a hard worker, right? And we're responsible, and so yay to responsibility. I've had, I have these 2 other classes, and I'm bogged down as well. So I do relate to the sacrifices that some of you are making. That's a little level. Many of you have family, you have spouses, you have, other unexpected events that's come up in your life. So I really sympathize with that. And I want to encourage you, if you can get out and have, picnics on today, on days like today, I hope that you can do that. But, we're almost done. And so that's mainly what I want to say. I want you to feel good about, and if you've really kept up this far, you should be solid. And I want you to feel good about that. Okay. Now, just a quick talk about this week's subject matter. I do a development of Christianity and Islam in the section. And I do Christianity from a perspective that you will rarely get exposed to. And I know that because I studied a lot of, I've had a lot of classes, and unless you're actually in a really specialized field, For instance, the development of the Bible is something that a lot of you are interested in. It's just might be a little bit shocking to you because it's I feel like I grew up under the assumption that the Bible that I had just kind of fell from heaven, kind of like nicely packaged, as it is now. And it's a lot more complicated than that. I also kind of go over a discussion of some of the controversies and the battles within the Christian world. And if you look at the last assignment that I have you to, the paper on Christianity, I talk about the difference between East and West. I want you to pay attention in the textbook and in some of my lectures of what I mean by that. In other words, Roman Catholic versus Eastern Orthodox, or even the other Eastern churches, the other patriarchs. Now, again, for Protestant Christians, this isn't even real Christianity, and it's almost like something you put out of the back of your head. So I want you to not think that way. I want you to. I'm talking about the development of historical institutions that call themselves Christian. So again, it's not a debate about what is true Christianity or what is a better form of Christianity, but how Christianity as a religion that had states that sponsored it and official churches saying things in the name of Christianity developed. Okay, that's what you're thinking of. And then in terms of Islam, same thing. I cover the Shiite Sunni split, and and I cover Islam's version of Jesus. We show that. There's a tendency, I feel like, when it comes, because of so much controversy and social tensions over the issue of Islam in our society right now for a wide range of reasons, there tends to be a very strong critique of Islam or an overly politically correct. And what I mean by overly politically correct, only in the sense to say that you will sometimes see professors talk about many different religions the way that they normally talk about as historians, which is, I qualify that maybe this contradicts some of your own belief systems, but this is how secular historians approach this, and then we go on from there. And then they don't want to do it that way because they know that Islam is being so unfairly attacked that they then kind of give more of a sermon about Islam through an Islamic, through maybe mainstream Muslim ideas without kind of doing the same approach, the historical analysis. And I always want to just be balanced on that, right? So as I've told you, the idea of my class is never to make any religion look bad or look good, but to just to try to explain what we as historians know about them and how that may enrich your understanding. And I try to draw in things when I think that I know what's going on in contemporary discourse. So I bring up a lot of controversial aspects within Islam because I see the YouTubes. I've watched so many of these things, and I've listened to conversations, and I thought, people, when they attack it, they're going to bring up this. So I want to bring up that issue, and I want to also give that perspective of how a Muslim would respond, and so on and so forth. Now, so in a sense, my Islam lecture is more addressing things that you might be hearing in popular discussion, for better or for worse, okay, or popular debate or whatever. And with my Christianity section, you almost have no discussion about the way Christianity develops in the way in which I present it, okay? And so I also want people who are not Christian to be aware of is that while I think many Muslims may be more familiar with many of the things that I'm talking about in the Islam section, many practicing religious Christians may be less aware of what I discuss in the development of Christianity. Okay, that makes sense. So I just wanted to clarify that. And then please feel free, those of you who are practicing Christians or Muslims or any of the religions that I've discussed, if you feel that I've misrepresented a point or left out a point, let me know. Oh yeah, quick thought. In one of my lectures, for those who care, I say that the Quran talks about the Torah and the Gospel, but I forgot to mention the Zabur, the Psalms. Okay, so I actually wasn't as precise. So the Quran which you'll understand this when you see the lectures, says that there's nur, spiritual light, in the Torah, Zebur, Injil. In other words, the Torah of the Jews, the Psalms, and then the Gospel. And my lectures will explain that whole discussion. So yeah. And so have a great week, and always contact me if you need to. And that's it. Okay.